They can pass all kinds of weird stuff now in the mainstream media, and a huge swath of us will never even know because we've completely tuned them out. There's some great breakdowns of the Truman Show because there's a lot of things that people don't understand what they're nods to, like dates and addresses and stuff that they flash in that
100%.
movie.
I always love watching a movie because I can watch a movie in an hour, but I
Yeah.
read a book in like a year.
We go through personal cycles. We've seen history cycles. We've watched people document that 80-year cycle. And so when we're in a cycle, it's always odd to me that we don't do a better job of recognizing it. You're just like, what did they do? Shake down the local 7-Eleven to build this jury?
Well, they're supposed to. They're
The local
supposed to
cat
be
farm or whatever?
local cat. What has been going on Twitter, and it is actually hilarious. And so the new administration going in
Okay.
tweets a lot or
Yeah.
puts out a lot of stuff. And so I guess he's been arguing with the president of Panama over the Panama Canal.
Well, there was some tie-in. So I was just listening to some stuff on that. So I don't know enough yet, but there was some tie-in with another foreign nation
Okay.
getting involved in that, and then potential security risks of that, because that's a major throwaway for shipping and goods at this point. So
Okay. So I guess he's trying to say that it's going to be a part of the United States, and the president of, is it Panama? Panama. I want to say Panama.
Panama. Yeah.
He responded back and was just like, this like just dropped an hour ago too. He responded back and was just like, every inch belongs to us of this canal.
Mm-hmm.
He is so unserious. Like he literally tweets this back to him and says, "Welcome to the United States Canal." An American flag in the middle of it. And he is just so unserious that I just can't handle it. And then Elon was just like, 2025 is going to be lit. Because we can expect a lot more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I still like did you see the one with Canada? Where it was like
I don't know.
Canada becoming the 51st state, and then he tweeted back, like they had respond about Canada not being involved or being annexed, and then he responded back with like a picture of Canada in the background and him standing over the mountain with like this U.S. flag, Canadian flag.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He just like does not care, especially anymore. So I just
like, yeah, he's on his last. That's why he's probably even more. I wouldn't say dangerous, but well, I guess more dangerous to certain people for sure. But even more maverick, right? And throwing more caution to the wind because it is his last go round for sure.
Regardless of how you feel about him, you do have to admit he has a sense of humor.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if we were being fair and judging him before any of this stuff occurred, his support would be dramatically high. I mean, it used to be. He was fawned after by those stations that are now accused him of doing everything you could possibly imagine, right? And I mean, that was for decades.
I know.
So, and there's a reason why, because he does have a personality, right? He is that way.
It's really charismatic.
Yeah, and of course he's really wealthy. So when you're wealthy, but
doors open.
He's just that kind of person. He's got that ability to take over a room, right? And become the center of attention in a way that if you weren't personally biased, you'd be like, oh, I find this guy somewhat entertaining.
Well, he had a TV show for years.
Yeah.
Like years and years.
The Apprentice, yeah. It was like a top-rated TV show amongst all the people not all the people, amongst a large swath of individuals who call him every name under the sun now. Yeah. They used to, those people were watching him religiously. Yeah.
Times change really fast.
Life comes at you fast.
Damn.
One minute you're working McDonald's drive-thru, next minute you're president of the United States.
Life does go by fast, and I honestly forgot that this milestone was yesterday until like I got an email from our app or whatever that I've been working at our other job for 3 years, and it blew my mind. It's like time just goes by.
It does go by.
And then you look back and you're just like, wow, it's honestly not that long, but
no, but it is. I mean, especially when you're younger too.
But I think that's how I've noticed, even with like the workout stuff, is time's gonna go by regardless. Because I just got the end of the year thing that they do, and I just hit like a 30-week streak or whatever.
Nice. 30
And
weeks, really?
yeah.
Wow.
And I mean,
That seems like a long time ago to me.
doesn't it
Starting
seem
the
like a
workout.
long time?
Yeah.
I started in May, I think.
Hmm.
And I've consistently gone to the same class. So, I mean, that's just that one class. I've had a 30-week streak, but it's not like I was really doing a lot more before that. But time goes by either way, so you might as well spend the time doing something that you like or
Yeah.
should be doing because
Well,
it's going to
hopefully
pass you
you're going
by
to spend the time either way, whether you do something you like or don't like, right?
instead of
Yeah.
the other.
The other thing which you shall not mention that you often say. So yeah, either you're living or you're not. You're unaliving.
I spend a lot of time editing out stuff that I say. I always complain that I edit so
I know
long.
sometimes the watching our videos back, it's super choppy. I was like, that transition is weird, and it often makes it look like I'm just cutting you off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'll say something and then you'll start a little retort and then I'll be like right back into it. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't just cut her off there. Like I'd let her finish. And then I say to myself, oh, she decided to edit something out there. She didn't like what
It's
she had to
probably
say.
because I said a word that would get us shadow
You should just do like bleeps or something like that.
so then it's a little bit more natural of a transition.
Yeah, so people understand. Or we should just take your stuff and bleep it out and we'll call it Foul Mouth Emily Hour. We'll just bleep out everything you say.
Something.
Or like every couple of words, just to make it seem like as
It
if you're.
would be like a lot.
Some of those fun edits are the best though. When you see people do that, like some of the videos that it must take a lot of time. The videos that people put together of people just like taking a breath.
Oh my gosh, I know. There was a
they had that Will Ferrell one. I saw that. It was pretty popular, but I've seen a bunch of others. So
there was this girl who made it seem like she was like flying a magic wand.
okay.
And she had to jump up every single time
Oh wow.
to make it look like she was flying, but the edits were so bad because she wasn't like centered and it was super like choppy.
Yeah.
And somebody responded and they're just like, I'm a editor and I don't want you to waste your time. So it's like, can I please re-edit this for you?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, maybe I should just make a really bad edit of something and maybe somebody will
to
just
help out.
yeah, don't feel so bad.
I still love that one where it's like the woman with the selfie stick that tries to make it look like she's flying and she rests on her one knee. And then it's, you know what I'm talking about? And it's like she has a set of goleones down there in that photo.
I mean, those are usually the things that go viral though.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so it's something else that we saw this week that I guess people have been talking about. I haven't seen too much traction on it is I guess I'm a little bit confused with like the astronauts wherever they're stuck because I thought that they were supposed to be down by now.
Yeah, I don't get it either. That's why I've kind of given up on that whole thing. Like some of these stories that are caught in the major news and news cycles, I've just gotten to the point to where it's like I'm almost completely ignoring them.
Because it's so mainstream.
Yeah, anything that's like mainstream, I almost completely let go now. Like they can pass all kinds of weird stuff now in the mainstream media, and a huge swath of us will never even know because we've completely tuned them out.
It's true. I'll like come to you and be like, "Oh, I just heard this," and you hadn't heard it.
Yeah, they're so disinteresting because they're so dishonest that I find no value in what they have to say. And so now I'm completely out of the loop, though, if there is something that's being carried by them. Or if there's something that's carried by them and alternate media, because it receives so much attention, I'm completely leery of it now as well. Or I just think, well, if it's actually really important, I'll find out in a week or two. Because usually it's BS and it just crowds the news cycle for a couple of days.
Well, that's why I think, I was talking to you a little bit, but there's two things going on right now that make me think we're really like in a simulation or a show or like
she wants to say psyop. She wants to say a movie, a show.
Like a movie.
She's afraid to say it though. She's afraid to commit.
Like, okay, so years ago we watched the Truman Show in school. I really don't know why they showed us that.
We should rewatch the Truman Show.
Okay, that'll be our next rewatch, and then we'll come back and talk about the Truman Show. Because I remember leaving, I was like in junior high, and my teacher decided to show it to us. And I remember leaving that class thinking, this is wild. And I feel like this it feels a little too real to me, even though it was like a fictional movie.
Well, there's some great breakdowns of the Truman Show because there's a lot of things that people don't understand what they're nods to, like dates and addresses and stuff that
Oh,
they flash in that
100%.
movie. And so it would be worthwhile, like with Eyes Wide Shut, we purposely did not try to get into a lot of
Yeah.
detail, or recently. But I know in the past I've seen some Truman Show breakdowns, now years ago, where they were talking about different nods to the film, or sorry, the moon landing, and like a lot of events throughout
Really?
history. Yeah.
I watched it over a decade ago, so it's going to be a lot of new information for me.
It'd be interesting to watch again. We should do it. Let's do it.
Okay,
You're
yeah.
here first. You'll see our wrap up or our breakdown of the Truman Show.
I always love watching a movie because I can watch a movie in an hour, but I
Yeah.
read a book in like a year.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say a week. I was about to slam dunk that one.
I almost did, but I knew that you would.
She could see the eagerness in my face, like a
It was
predator.
like I couldn't even pretend that I do that.
Well,
But
it's because you have the ability to read a book in a week easily, but you got a lot going on. Well, I don't know. It's hard for you to get into stuff now. I think maybe the pressure of having to do it, huh?
of having to read a book.
Of having to read the book. Like when you didn't have pressure, it seemed like you were reading much more frequently. Because it was really your idea about reading books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the one who got us the first one and was like, we should do this book club.
Yeah. And then start talking about books. And next thing I know, I'm doing a book club by myself.
I know. I had a lot of ideas. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of high pressure stuff going on where it's just like, I do also have to edit. And at this point in time, I don't know. I think I do kind of buckle down when pressure's there. I'm not one who handles pressure the best.
You mean buckle under? Because like buckle down is like meaning like you gear in and get tough, right?
The opposite of
You do
that.
the other. Yeah. You like
Okay.
buckle under the pressure.
That's my other thing too, is I say the wrong phrases and words.
Yeah. Yeah. When they're similar. Yeah. When they're similar words, sometimes you'll transpose the words. And then I'm over here just like, what?
And then I derail us a lot too.
But that's useful because then we get into conversations about other stuff.
And it flows a lot better too. Oh yeah, so and then I end up reading books that we aren't reading. Well, we're not really reading the book at the
We're trying to read Cloud Atlas.
Yes, so if you want a fun challenge, is go to AI and be like, based off of my conversations, and then just like ask it a question. So I said, based off of our conversation, it's really yours. What book should we read? And he narrowed it down to this one book, Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's 500 pages almost.
Yeah. Maybe Z just wanted me to read it.
I
So
think so.
I'm trying to soldier through it. It is tough reading. And because it has a lot of words and phrases in the beginning of the first few
Oh my gosh.
20, 30 pages or whatever that are just less common words and things like that. And then also the names are more difficult.
He said specifically that you would appreciate the puzzle of it and piecing it together
Okay.
and the psychologicalness of it. And I was just like, okay, it's just going over my head.
Okay.
So it probably is more of a book for you.
Yeah, I'll keep diving into it. But I've been reading a little bit every night. But I do enjoy it. But I
Are
find
you?
myself having to go back through it. And I found last night I was reading it and I'm like, what is this book actually trying to say? Because it's talking about that ship captain's log, but it's also talking about like the relationship between a couple of different native tribes, and one being more pacifist and being taken over, and then the claim that they were pacifist and being taken over was false, that they were actually much more aggressive and just happened to lose. And so there's like these conflicting kind of statements within his diary about the tribes and how things fleshed out.
Once you start talking to people, you find a lot of connections. You find a lot of, like we did, that just reminded me, like, because we were in our other job, we were doing like a get to know you type thing, and you had to find a commonality between the table.
Betwixt you?
Yeah, which I don't think my table actually did, because if you knew my table, we were the oddest group of individuals. Like,
I'm sure if we gave you enough time, you guys would narrow it down.
oddest meaning just so different walks of life.
Oh, not like circus freak?
Surprisingly. But one of the questions was, what were we just talking about? I
That was
literally
one of the
just lost my
questions?
train of thought.
No, you were talking about
What were we just?
not identifying, finding
Oh,
commonality with this group.
yes. Okay. You had said something that led to a question on there, but it's gone now. While
Mm.
I was talking, I just talked it right out.
You got derailed.
I
You
derailed
derailed yourself.
myself.
Yeah.
Anyways, but it is an interesting. Oh, yeah. Anyways,
Hold on, everyone. She's got it now.
I came back. When you talk to people, though, you do typically find commonalities, and then you do realize like people actually do want to have conversations that you thought they wouldn't want to have, or
Yeah.
things that you maybe thought were weird that you experienced. Everybody kind of has an experience. Like, we're all so interconnected.
Yeah. I think that's a fair thing to say. I think, too, we build up a lot of narratives and stories in our head because of the way people react, but a lot of times we self-sabotage it as well. Like you come in with disbelief or with the concern that it's going to go negatively, and then it does, and it kind of fulfills it, right?
Mhm.
So all it takes is like one or two positive experiences, and then all of a sudden you start building on that momentum as well. But I also feel like there's a conscious shift
Oh,
in the.
yeah.
I feel like right now we're in a conscious shift of going from being focused on the negative and almost where the negative wins, where the self-indulgent and the negative and the most extreme of us were winning and exceeding and doing really well, and we had a system built like that. And
Mhm.
now with the people who are being taken out and taken down in reference to like lowering social status, being exposed for what kind of individual they are, that's what I'm
Yeah.
referencing. I feel like there's a switch with that's happening. And I'm
Yeah.
starting to wonder that if like, in my opinion, people who are better, more decent people, like people you don't hear stuff from, like your whatever, the bus driver or the little old lady who volunteers down at the soup kitchen. Like I'm starting to wonder if like those people are going to start being elevated in our society.
I
And
hope so.
like, and it still could be means of social media, right? Like you've seen some people blow up on social media just by making simple little videos. Like I saw one of this guy who goes fishing. It's like
Okay.
this old guy who goes fishing and he posts his videos on YouTube. And someone circulated one of his videos, and then he blew up to like 500,000 followers. And I'm sure he's at like 1 million now because it was growing exponentially. And before that, he had a couple hundred or 1,000 or whatever.
It just takes one. It just
Well,
takes
but
one
the
video.
point being is his video is just like him documenting his fishing day and chatting a little bit about life and stuff like that.
Oh,
And it's this elderly guy who's making this video really for no one other than like kind of himself, but maybe those who are actually interested and just want to chat, like to have someone to chat with.
I always
So,
say these are more for us than social media,
yeah.
but then it does resonate with people though too.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it does seem like it. It seems like
It's starting to now, but like before I was thinking about it, I was just like, I would still do this even if like we got no views, but it is a lot more fun instead of getting like spending hours, instead of spending like getting 3 likes, getting more like at least in the double digits.
Yeah.
We're getting to triple here soon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it doesn't, with the couple of platforms that we're on, like one in particular, it makes almost no sense how it works. But anyway, that's just something you got to do. You just got to go through the grind of
It's
it.
the grind.
And it makes us better. It makes us better at this. It makes us better for
100%.
conversation when we bring in other people. We also look more polished because we've done it so often and we're very comfortable.
I'm really bad at liking other people's stuff though.
I've gotten better about it for sure. Now knowing I'm like Mr. Like, I like everything. I give out likes.
It takes 0 seconds
Yeah.
to do it.
Like I'm like the Monopoly guy with likes.
Well, I remember you like when we were on TikTok, you were just like, let's scroll through and just like a lot of people's stuff.
Yeah.
But I was listening to it without the volume on, and you're like, you probably should at least like know what they're saying.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like-
That's why I hate these kind of people. You're like over there spam liking it.
Because a lot of people don't have the captions on, so you have absolutely no idea
What they're saying.
what they're saying. I just do know that the algorithm does kind of stifle most things if it's inappropriate. But at the same time, though, things go
I don't
through.
know. I've heard some crazy stuff on there, or seen some stuff come on my feed when it's wild, because the things that you're not supposed to be able to say and do get circulated really well, and then other things won't be, or they get stifled because of the current
Climate of things.
buzzword that they're trying to prevent, right?
And then I never know what the buzzword is until I post and it gets stifled, and I was like, okay, I just hit one.
Yeah.
Or somebody comments on ours, which is the worst.
Yeah, that was weird. The whole, I'm just going to go into it, the whole climate deal, where it's like they said something about that, and we weren't even talking about that. We were talking about cycles, and then they went into like denial activism type stuff. It's like,
We weren't talking
you're
about-
showing your hand, dude. If your thing is that weak that someone's talking about something, I guess somewhat related, but I was talking literally about cycles that we all experience, and noting that we go through weather patterns and cycles. We know our planet has been through cycles. We go through personal cycles. We've seen history cycles. We've watched people document that 80-year cycle. And so when we're in a cycle, it's always odd to me that we don't do a better job of recognizing it.
That is actually a really good point that you just mentioned about personal cycles. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Especially, I've never been one for really like New Year's resolutions, because I think just start now type thing.
She may think that, but she may not do it. You're like, well, I just go with my personal model.
Your
Just
face,
starting
as soon
now.
as I said that, your face is like,
This will be fun when you edit it.
watch me just edit this right on out. I think this way because my grandma would always say, like, your birthday is actually your new year. Not unless you're born January 1st, but your new year
Got you on a
actually
technicality there, huh? No, yeah, I get you.
And I think so many people, like, I do get on these cycles where I'm like, I'm going to be the best at, like, this. I'm going to edit for hours on this day, blah, blah, blah. And then you find yourself just, like, not doing it sometimes. So if you can see the cycles within yourself, how can you not think that there's cycles in everything in life?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that always amazes me, like climate cycles, meaning like spring, winter, fall, summer cycles that we know exist and occur. Calm down. Trust me, I'm not a big fan of people poisoning our atmosphere, our water, our food, right? So,
which actually brings me back to my original point, how I think we're in a show right now and we're watching the show. Because I'm seeing like these same cycles over and over and over again where, and again, this is like really mainstream media right now, but there is like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are suing the producer of the movie that Blake was just in for sexual harassment. His PR team is the Johnny Depp PR team. And I was like, this
who
is...
his?
Justin Baldoni, who
Okay,
they are
so the
suing.
guy that's suing. Okay.
I'm just like, this is going to be Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp 2.0.
Oh, really?
I really think so. Where it's just like, they're going to go to court and I'm sure it's going to be broadcasted all over again. And that timing was really interesting when they did that court case the first time. Because first of all, I was just like, does anybody care enough to really watch this?
It seemed like a ton of people did. I had zero interest other than the whole defecating on the bed part and Jason Momoa being like the drunk uncle on the stand, whatever that was about.
Was he a witness?
Yeah, well, he was video conferenced in, right? I think wasn't he? He was video conferenced in or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just remember clips of Jason Momoa like, oh, and I'm like, what is going on?
I know. And then it's just like...
And Johnny Depp was like trying not to laugh while Jason Momoa was giving testimony.
If you like watch the clips that people put together of him trying not to laugh in court, it is hilarious because there's like, several times.
Or when she was on the stand doing whatever she was doing, that some people alluded to being narcotics and whatnot.
Yeah. It's like, oh my.
I don't know if that was edited video, but if it wasn't, that was awfully incriminating looking, apparently.
I don't think there was a winner in that case, to be honest.
Yeah, the American people when it was over. And it's a part of that group, that clan that wants to worship those celebrities still. They're still very strong.
I know, I guess.
Like when I see someone famous, I almost treat them like I know them personally because I've seen them so often. They're like my buddy. Like, oh.
Right.
Like you see their face and I react like that. But I'm not one of those. I mean, I understand being starstruck because you see them all the time or you like their personality or you want to be part with them. But this like worshiping that people do. of
That's the
this-
next level.
Yeah, and it's common. And people will say, "Oh, I don't." It's like, yes, you do. The things you do, you're wearing their T-shirt and going buying their stuff. It's like you're worshiping them.
And concert tickets these days are like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
It's so expensive. Where before it was like, I feel like less than 100 for seats, and now you can't find anything less than like 100.
Yeah. Well, that also has to do with economy stuff, I think. But
Oh, that's probably true.
That's-
If you're already an actor, wouldn't you be in acting your whole life? Because
Right.
it's all a PR
if you're a
move.
paid liar,
And I am honestly really tired of talking
and
about
if you were famous, real quickly,
Oh, yeah.
if you were famous, you would
I would
sign
do it. Are you
contracts. Well, no,
kidding
you yeah, whatever. You would also sign these contracts and stuff. I don't know why people act like it's a big conspiracy that if you suggest people are signing contracts when they date or they do date or they get put together, you're talking millions, hundreds of millions of dollars involved, and all it takes is accusation in a court case one way or the other, and it could cost one or the other significant fame, money, defamation, whatever. Like you can't just if you have a crazy ex like you have and you guys are both poor, it doesn't matter. But if you're both worth a couple $100 million and you have a blow up and next thing you know Stacy's smashing the windows out of your car, like there's a whole nother level of impact that has. And so these contracts and stuff, I completely understand why you would do that.
it's like a prenup,
Yeah,
you know.
but for dating.
But for dating, exactly. Even though I heard prenups aren't actually, they don't always hold up in court, which is wild because it's a document. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
But did the prenup account for the person's feelings? So if it didn't account for their feelings, there's a bunch of legal loopholes.
Well, did you hear that the person who called in for Luigi at McDonald's might not get the money? Because they called 911 and not the tip line. And they said you had to call the tip line to get the money. And I was like, they will find any loophole they can to not pay you.
Yeah, sure.
Which
How much was it?
Maybe 50,000?
50,000.
It wasn't a crazy amount,
Yeah.
which I honestly am tired of talking about him, but it is just getting weirder and weirder.
No, I was just thinking of the person calling in on the tip line.
Oh, I know. It's like sad.
This is Marco and Luigi.
I know. All the memes that have come from this. It is getting weirder and weirder though, and this goes back to me thinking we're in like a show or simulation or something because he is in the same holding
the
facility as him, but his lawyer is married to Diddy's lawyer.
Okay, yeah, I totally believe that. There's all this weird, when you go and start going through these connections of these Hollywood celebrities, judges, district attorneys, all these people, and then you're like, how did they get off on this case? Or how did this trial go here? And then you find out it's like the niece and nephew of this district judge who was the relative of this senator and who is that. It's like all these high prime cases seem to involve like one group of people who all go to the same functions. And it happens time and time again. Or if you look at court cases about the Orange Man, that one judge in New York was the same judge who resided over both of those cases that are, in my opinion, kind of absurd. But
I wonder if it's too far gone, the legal system, or if it can still get fixed.
it needs to be reduced. And like, I think Elon Musk said it best of the thing that I've heard was when he said, in times of peace, well, I'll paraphrase it. Basically, in times of peace, so many laws are written that it creates times of war.
Okay.
That when society's doing well, we invariably make all these laws, rules, and regulations because people aren't used to having hard times or hard ways. And then everything becomes something to have a disagreement about, that they want to put it on the books as a law. And then society and life becomes so restricted that a group of people eventually fight back with fists and stones or whatever.
I think people get pushed to a point where they just can't take it anymore. I think that, again, talking about cycles, we've seen that in history. Talk about the Boston Tea Party. They just couldn't handle it anymore. And so they literally...
It is wild when you consider the percentage of tax that we went to an intercontinental war over, and then now what you get taken out of your paycheck every 2 weeks.
Well, I just saw one of the Harry Potter actors owes $2.3 million worth of taxes from the residuals of Harry Potter.
Wow.
It's just like he was a kid in that. It's like how on earth, or is he already paying taxes for that? But it is the system that we live in.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a jury before?
No. I think I was requested once and it was canceled, and that's it.
Yeah. I think I would enjoy it, honestly.
Yeah, with your true crime background.
But at the same time, though, I think you're like, you have to do it. And if it's an unideal time, they're just like, whatever.
Duty. I know, but the people who always seem to do it always seem to be the most odd of us. Right? It's always like you see these jurors get interviewed, and you're just like, what did they do? Like shake down the local 7-Eleven to build this jury?
Well, they're supposed to
cat
be
farm or whatever.
Local cat farm. They're supposed to be the most unbiased among us, but
okay. Yeah, we know that's not true. It depends on where it's at, and then they have jury selection process they go through that shapes the jury into the way they want it.
You know, I was thinking about that because I think you do have to fill out a questionnaire when you get called in. And if they did want to sway it one way or the other, there probably are answers they'd be looking for.
Yeah. Also, the way you look and things like that. If you're a Caucasian male, they may not want you on because of X, Y, and Z, or maybe the perpetrator is a Caucasian male, so they want you on the jury. They think of stuff like that. That is so
messy.
That's what I'm saying. You think it's just like this random process. There's a jury selection process where the prosecutors and the defense basically fight over who gets on the jury or not, along with the judge. And I guess it depends on the type of case and the court in which it's being held in as well. So
yeah, I was subpoenaed once in my life, but it didn't actually take. Yeah. So that's good news for me.
She just ignored it.
Oh, could you imagine? They said if I ignored it, I would be arrested. It literally says that in the contract. They're like, if you do not appear,
a warrant will be issued for your arrest.
Yeah.
Or something.
And I was like, that's so intense.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And you did nothing.
He was a witness, I know. And then the cop can now text you. They don't actually have to serve you the papers. They can text you the papers.
Huh. Oh, that's weird.
So that
defeats the whole thing of being served.
I know. So I got a text. And he was just like, I'm Officer so-and-so.
You're like, is this a Nigerian scammer?
I know.
What do you want? Do you want my Amazon login information, Officer so-and-so?
I know. Because
they got to rethink that. Sending a text is good enough. It's like, that's dumb. You get spam with text. Now I saw something about QR codes that are hacking your phone.
Oh, no way. I scam those like crazy.
Yeah, there's QR codes that they can use that'll send you to a website that will then give you like spyware into your phone.
I have not heard that.
Which totally makes sense. I mean, if you just went to a particular site, you could have it happen as well.
AI is going to get so into that, I think.
Into what? Scamming people?
Scamming people.
I don't think so. I hope we move past that.
Well, maybe not AI, but I think people will use AI for that reason.
I don't think so. I think if they were using AI, I don't think they'd be using it for scamming. Although, I guess, yeah, you could probably make a ton of money off scamming people.
Well, couldn't you just have it do all your phone calls for you?
Right. But I would just assume someone who's intelligent enough to figure out a way to utilize AI to scam people would be intelligent enough to utilize AI in another way where it's like legally scamming people, like being a real estate agent or something like that.
Oh, shots are fired.
That is a scam of a scam.
Okay, well, it's hilarious because before we had this office space, we'd kind of have to find odds and ends of places to edit and do this stuff. And we were in like that coffee shop, and there was a meeting of the real estate agents going on next to us.
Yeah.
And because there's a law that was passed in maybe not a law, but a lot of real estate agents got in trouble because
they were skimming. They were skimming from their clients, stealing from their clients.
Oh,
basically.
Yeah. Their commission was higher than it should have been.
They were misrepresenting it. Huh.
And you should have like listened. I was like, you should have. You did.
Yeah, I did. I heard it.
Conversation.
Well, and a lot of them don't even know really what they're doing. They're like,
true.
I work really hard. I put on a lot of makeup and wear, these outfits and carry this And it's like, so I'm worth $250,000 a year. It's like, no, you're not. You do so little anymore. So much is done by the title agency. So much is, it's just like you're the representation. But hey, if you got a good scam, go ahead, do your thing, man. Let people keep paying you whatever percent to show them a house.
I am honestly shocked that places like Homey haven't just blown up.
I use Homey. It was so easy. It was like $1,500. And I think I paid half of that because it was like, anyway, I paid like half of what it was even supposed to be.
Do you show the person your house yourself, or do they have
They
employees
just
that do that?
no, they just show up and have a key and like go through.
Oh, just by themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never used it, but
I don't think I ever had I think I did have a Homey agent representative, but they were like always busy too. Probably because they were showing like so many people and they had one agent representative. But it wasn't a big deal. I walked through the house. I was like, oh, I like this one. Made an offer. Boom. Done.
Oh, that's how you bought your house?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that's how you sold your house.
Bought and sold.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, there are a lot of occupations where, yeah, I guess it is scammy, but it is legal. So it's like, that's fine.
I was going to say, there's a lot of occupations that feel awful scammy to me. But hey, you're going to make your money.
I think the higher up you get, the more you learn too. Like,
Yeah.
I know,
I would argue retail's a scam. I mean, look at retail sales. That's such a scam.
How much you actually pay for it versus what you charge.
Yeah. Like, people talk about goods and services and things like that, food, even in a grocery store. Grocery stores don't really have high profit margins because of their costs and stuff, or because of their ability to sell it. But even if you go to just like a general place where they get a sweatshirt for $20, they spend it. It's like a small shop, and then they're trying to retail it for $40 or $45. It's like, so you're paying $25 more for the same product. And they're like, well, we buy it in bulk. Yeah. So it makes sense, I guess, for the company. But it's like, well, just put me in contact with the company, then I'll contact them directly. And that's what a lot of people have been doing with those websites overseas that people order their products from.
We know somebody who does that.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, like, props to you if you can find a good one and you can do it and you find people who are willing to buy it. That's all you have to do is find somebody willing to buy it.
Yeah. I understand too, it's a convenient, I don't know, the whole system is weird when you consider how many people make money off of like a $25, $30 t-shirt that you just bought and what the actual cost of that t-shirt is. It is pretty startling.
It's sickening when you get into the luxury market.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the markups in there are unreal. It's just like, and I don't know if anybody really does need to have a over $1,000 handbag. And this is...
Yeah, but you're paying $1,000 for the name. You're not paying $1,000 for the good.
Well, that's the thing. And that goes to show, too, like, know your worth. Because it's like this t-shirt and this t-shirt were probably made in the same factory. Like, I have heard... And see, I have to be careful because I can't throw out names because it could be defamation or whatever. But there's a very famous store that sells popular leggings. It's kind of what they're known for. And then I have heard that there is a factory that just kind of makes the same. One is just maybe like vetted a little bit better. Like the product controls maybe a little bit better. The stitching might be a little bit different.
Well, I know of someone personally who had a product that was produced and he had the patent on it and protections. But the company that was producing his product was also producing it for someone else that was selling it on another website and like at a third of the cost.
And it was the exact same product.
Exact same product.
I don't know if I've ever actually found a product that I think is the exact same. Is that a placebo? I don't know. Am I just feeling it? And I'm just like, this feels more expensive to me?
Well, we've definitely seen stuff like Nickies, right? People produce Nickies and make knockoffs of that, right?
That took me a minute. I was like, why?
Air Johnsons. There's those fake Air Johnsons out there.
I love those memes where they're just like, how do you know that this isn't real? And it's like the basketball player like going to dunk and it's like doing something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
But those shoes though, they look real at just like glance at first sight. And usually most of them are pretty good to the point to where it takes someone who knows, like who plays with the sole or checks the leather and stuff like that to see.
You think the quality is there too?
Enough? Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like enough for sure.
That's what I always say too, is I'm just always just like, I don't know if like the quality is there, but who knows? I don't
I think it
know.
costs the same amount to produce them the way you want. Maybe it's slightly better, or that factory doesn't have the exact materials or something, right? But a lot of those factories are the ones who are producing it anyway. It's like the guy that was let go down the street is now the guy who's working in your factory producing it.
And they take all the secrets.
Yeah.
I remember
I
this
don't
like
even know if there's big secrets. I think over there, isn't that part of the problem? Is overseas they don't have those trade law secrets and stuff like that. So it's open to anyone who can produce the good for the cheapest amount.
I know people get so mad, and I guess I
Or
probably would
patents, I guess.
too. Yeah, I don't think they do a patent protection because they have so many knockoffs over there.
Yeah.
People get so upset with knockoffs, but I was just like, there's only so
But
many
it's not a
ideas.
knockoff. When you think about it, what the difference is, it's like sometimes they're inferior quality. I'll give you that. But the times when they're not, it's like, well, then what are you paying for? You're paying
Yeah.
because this company said it's theirs versus this other company that's right down the street or that's in the same factory producing it and not saying it's theirs and just using their name. So it's like you're paying for the name. And then people are like, well, this is one of 100 of these. It's like, well, you could produce 1,000,000 of these. It's not a big deal. It's easy to do. It's just
I
that
know,
this
right?
company only produced 100.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, why are you paying that much for it?
Everything's valued, I guess, at what we're willing to pay for it.
Right.
Like,
That's kind of my bigger point. Is
On
it's
it-
all based on perceived value.
I know. Well, you were busy just wrapping presents for hours.
Yeah, because I've got 2 kids. So it takes forever. And I'm a single dad. So it's like,
I know. The thing is, though, is like this really is stuff that they'll remember. So it's not something that like it's worth your time, I would say, because they really will remember and appreciate it.
yeah.
It's hard though. It's like I was trying to think of like my favorite Christmas. I've always been the person who just gets gifts. So it's like everybody in my family just says, "What should I get so and so?" And I pretty much just get everybody's gifts and then just
That's cool.
send it over to them. Everybody needs somebody like that in their life, I
Yeah,
think.
you're a good gift giver.
It's honestly all you have to do, and I feel like you'd be
Don't
good
give me
at it.
advice. I don't need to know how to become a good gift giver. I like being a bad gift giver.
You're like, I don't. Here's the thing.
Go ahead, give me advice. Oh my gosh.
If you're bad at something,
Mhm.
people won't make you do it anymore.
Yeah, that's
So if you're bad at giving gifts, people won't care if you don't give you one. If you're bad at folding towels, you won't get asked. You'll actually be asked to stop.
I'll just give my family like dancing electronic bananas or something. Or like those little barking dogs. Remember when everyone used to have those? You probably didn't grow up in that period. There were like those balls with the raccoon tails and that used to be in the mall.
And they
had
would
the
roll
motor
around.
and they roll around.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that
And
was like
then
memory unlocked.
There were those barking dogs that would bark and then they'd do the backflip.
Yes. Those were so annoying though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we were talking about gifts. That's the kind of stuff I'd be giving people.
It's like, could you imagine? Now the malls, I haven't been to a mall in the month of December because I just physically can't. There's too many people there.
Okay.
I just can't imagine.
When you said physically can't, I was imagining you like trying to get out of your bed. Like
I guess I should say mentally can't.
mentally can't. Okay.
It's just when there's so many people and the holidays kind of bring out the best but the most stress out of everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people. And so when you're in the mall and everybody's just like bumping into each other and just like rushing
I don't like
around.
large crowds, so
I don't know how
demand.
you survived a cruise.
Yeah, it was not comfortable for me. I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I did enjoy it. I was appreciative, but in the same time, I would have rather been somewhere else for sure.
Where it's
And I
like,
kept having to take breaks and go back to the room to get away from everyone.
well, because you're stuck with the same people for days.
It's true. You do see a lot of the same people. Yeah. Speaking of bad gifts, though, remember those bass, like talking bass and walleye and stuff? And it would be on a plaque, and then it would sing. You'd press the button.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I saw someone who hacked those speakers and tied them up to a like a regular receiver or MP3 player, and they had them doing like Bohemian Rhapsody or whatever, and there was like 4 or 5 of them linked together.
I didn't know you could change what it says.
Yeah, well, they're just like speakers, and so they had them hardwired into these speakers.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever actually been given like a bad gift. I can't think of one that I was just like, this is a terrible gift.
I heard there was a social media story going around about a white elephant gift, and like someone brought in a PS5 into the white elephant.
That is so unfair when people do stuff like that.
And then the CFO took it
No.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a...
And then like one of the secretaries or something took it from the CFO. It was like one of the last people to take it and took the gift. And then she said she was like let go shortly thereafter, and she was claiming that was the reason why. Which I'm sure there was probably a litany of things usually when that occurs, but
There should be a limit, because if everybody is given like a $20 limit, you should stick to that, because first of all, second of all, that is kind of like a dick move from the CEO, because he can obviously afford one.
Yeah.
And also, like, let your employees have it,
Right.
honestly.
So,
But that does remind me of The Office when Michael bought that iPad.
yeah.
Or iPod or whatever it
Shuffle
was.
or whatever it was.
For Ryan, and then, well, because that wasn't White Elephant though. I think it was Secret Santa, but he turned it into White Elephant because he
Yeah.
got the oven mitt or whatever, and
Yeah.
he didn't want it. I will say, like, it's been years since I've seen that show, but there are some quality episodes in that.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. I used office wrapping paper for my daughter.
Oh, did you get
year.
that?
Yeah.
I see. I don't even...
Because we watched The Office together this year.
What even is like the cool things right now that people are gift giving?
I mean, I don't want to ruin it. I don't know when this episode's going to come out.
Oh,
but
that's true. That is true.
she's a teenager, so it's
Clothes.
oversized clothes and cool shoes.
I know.
Looking like she just got mugged by a hamper is basically the current fashion trend style.
Talking about cycles, fashion has the
Yes,
biggest cycle.
Fashion has cycles, for sure.
It's like I quite literally had to get rid of all my tight jeans.
I didn't. I just put it right in the closet and saved it for the next go round.
I mean, yeah, it's true, but I still, even though I'm not in that generation, you still kind of want to be perceived as younger than what you really are.
Yeah, well, there's some stuff that I like to do, or like new product that I would like to wear. And a lot of times with certain things, you gotta get the outfit. You can't just do the one thing, right? Because like even with shoes, especially even guys' shoes, like you wear a certain pair of shoes, and depending on how they fit, the pants fit with the shoes or don't fit with the shoes, because they could be like a high top with like a loose fit, and then you're wearing like a tight pant and it'll fit down, but then you wear like a baggy pant, it doesn't fit and it looks weird. That's like, there's some Jordans that I'd like to wear, but the only way you can wear them is if you wear shorts, and then you look weird wearing like, I think Jordans and shorts, I think looks weird for some reason. I don't know why.
Is that your controversial fashion take? I don't even think that's controversial.
Yeah.
I think
unless you're going on a basketball court, I guess. But part of my problem is I only wear like khaki shorts, so.
I don't even know what's fashionable really right now, and that's probably pretty awful to say.
Well, let's leave it there. Thank you for joining us this week on Millennial Spectrum. Our fashion major, Emily, is wondering what styles and fashions are coming out.
People need to let me know.
We didn't even get into drone talk. There was more drone talk. There was a drone strike today over in Russia. Yeah. And there's some conspiracy tones to that as far as the time and the location of that relating to an incident here in the U.S. Dun, dun, dun. So we can talk about that next time.
Okay, I'll have to look. So I'll look into that, and we're going to watch The Truman Show. That's our 2 homework assignments for next time.
So catch us here next time as we'll go over The Truman Show and maybe have more information to tease about that unusual drone situation.